It was a lonely meeting, I guess. Oh, we're
We
good.
finished on time.
Oh. With time to spare.
Time to spare, had time to go there.
What's that? Jeff, do you need a second?
Yeah. He was there, but.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a burn.
I want to maintain my commercial free speech, so. Great.
You'd be surprised. I didn't actually speak much,
You didn't?
Jim.
Okay, those are sealed. Actually, not yet.
You were okay.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, if I don't get it, I don't get it.
We can go ahead?
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Before we stand for our pledge and our moment of silence, we're gonna do our motions to exit our executive session. So could I please have a motion to exit executive session?
Motion to exit executive session.
Second.
Sorry, this is a logistic question. Should I include these two in the exit
No.
motion?
There.
They weren't upstairs with us.
Which ones? Which two?
Oh, I'm sorry, this is two.
Oh,
My- Right,
No.
okay. Sorry, I'm gonna exclude you guys for this. We'll go for our roll call vote though. Counselor Madnick,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Motion to seal the minutes of the executive session.
Second.
We'll go for a vote. Counselor Madnick
Yes.
Yes.
and myself, yes. There were no votes taken in executive session. And that's everything, right?
Yes.
All right, so we'll call our 6 o'clock meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence. All right, thank you. All right, first item on the agenda, we have a public hearing. Oh yeah, no, sorry to rush everybody. We'll get into our public hearing. Can I have a motion to open our public hearing?
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second?
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
O'Shannell.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. This is the public hearing for proposed amendments to Richmond Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3.06, entitled Schedule of Fees, Building Permit Fees and Related Charges. Is there any council discussion on this? Anybody in, oh, sure, go ahead,
Madam Chair,
Counselor.
Yes. I just had a general question about some of the wording that's being added regarding the fee schedule for the fire marshal the inspection. So I see here that we're adding wording in here that imposes fees that are paid to the fire district. And I was just wondering, like, more of a logistics question is, like, why is the town making statements regarding the fire authority fees when that's a different entity? I mean, the town doesn't pay for the fire service. It's a volunteer fire department that has its own tax schedule. And it just seems like they should have their own fees. It just seems really odd to be putting a regulation in here for the fire department.
Yeah, sure,
I
go
can
ahead.
clarify that. So this is different than taxation. This is inspection fees, similar to our building permit, so it'd be smoke detectors. And so it came to our attention that all entities had to go onto an online platform for building, zoning, now planning, and fire inspection fees. Fire was an added portal. If you remember, a month ago, we had a mutual agreement regarding with each fire company. When the fire departments had to use an online platform, there was some internal decisions made and that the fire inspection fees were going through OpenGov. And those decisions, it was a process that had been implemented without any kind of agreements in place. And it only came to light recently when we started having to remit checks back to the fire department because we're collecting the inspection fees through our open government platform. We also received a bill from the Department of Administration, who has provided that online platform for us to state we'll reimburse it should that fee be included, and then the fire district's reimburse our share, and the state ultimately at this point does reimburse those portions. So Danielle brought it to my attention to say, wait, why would we be repaying and getting reimbursed on the district's behalf? And so part of that inquiry, we found out we've been collecting fire inspection fees through our open government portal, which is for smoke detectors. It's for building permits and how many smoke detectors you need. It's for inspection of business licenses and fire suppressions. And so it's different than a fire district tract. It's actually an inspection fee. So we convened a meeting with both fire districts, myself, Danielle, the zoning official, to say, where did this come from? That's what developed into that mutual agreement that you voted upon. And we came to terms with that the town is collecting, it's our software, it's our checks to cut to reimburse the fire department, it's our staff minimally administrating it. So there should be a fee charged or collected back to cover the town's costs on those services. And that is what the ad fee is. But then further review, when we put this forward to add to our ordinances, I said, oh, we can't even under law collect those fees because they don't appear in chapter 306. So that's where we're today, is that those fees are stated by Rhode Island general law and governed through the fire department. But because now our entity is the host of the online portal, that we now have to ensure, one, we can collect the fee per ordinance, and two, there needs to be a reimbursement. So that's what that add-on charge is. And that is going to be in a dedicated account that covers, so we can see where our expenses go. And as our mutual agreements, it appears to be working very well right now. But should there be not an issue on one or the other side, that agreement can be revisited and we can actually track to see what the costs are to the town. And so at least we're minimally covering our costs without providing an exorbitant burden onto the persons who have that permit. We don't have a choice. Neither entity has a choice. It has to be an online platform. Now, does it have to be our platform? No, but we feel that for the ease of many of the residents who are applying through the open government portal are for building permits anyway. So they'd have to apply for ours, but then if the fire district had a separate online platform, then it might get held up there. So we do believe it streamlined the process for the residents applying, as well as now all members of all three entities, because Hope Valley Fire is also involved, have an understanding that should we not get that reimbursement, that the town of Richmond is not responsible for those costs. So that is kind of where we are today.
Got it. So just final step in this process.
Final step
Okay.
in the process.
Understood. Thank
Of
you.
what we've been doing. This practice has been happening.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Any other council discussion? There's a public hearing. Sure, Mr. McKendall. Please do just state your name for the record.
Alex from Richmond, Alex McKenna. So when talking about this, I don't really have any sort of beef with it. I just was wondering if there was some clarification. If you were to take a single family house, the inspection that was $30 is now 30 plus 75. Do I have that right?
Would you like to clarify?
What specific to the fire?
So I believe, so there are different sections of inspection. So some of it's the building portion of it, and I think some of it's the fire portion of it.
So like the new thing would be that they have to, for a single family home, let's say I was building it myself, I would have to, I guess my question first and foremost is, doesn't the electrical inspector already inspect the smoke detectors?
No, not all, no. So this is in state law now. So it is not a new initiative. It's just a new initiative in Richmond because we're now collecting the fees.
Yep.
The fire departments have been collecting those fees and it's only being implemented there. But there is certain components that the electrical inspector is allowed to inspect in the law, and there's certain components that the fire departments have to inspect. The fire departments review plans if you're building a new home, and they determine how many smoke detectors are installed. And so that is part of that. The fee is part of that review process.
But it is the $75, the additional cost to this new program.
I don't-
They've always been
They-
paying,
yeah.
for that.
Okay,
And previously, they were paying the fire district for that. The state recently mandated that all of these payments have to go through an online portal system, which we have in-house. So
Okay.
instead of them setting up their own online separate portal, we're gonna now start collecting those fees, send them to the fire district. And the
they
only.
get the money.
They'll get the money, and the additional fee is $10 for us administering that program for them. So correct me if I'm wrong, Aaron, but I think the net effect to the homeowner would be an additional $10
Okay,
fee that's going to be added to that fire inspection fee because we're administering the program for them. Right? It's not going to be taken out of their money. It's additional.
Correct. And so now that I'm looking to, so $75 would be for new construction. The $30 that are lower in that subject would be for, say, they didn't follow the plan and they had to go back out again. They would charge, instead of a $75, it would be a $30. Or some homes require at sale a smoke detector inspection before they can sell. That wouldn't be a new construction, $75. I believe that's when the $30 would take place. And so, the $10 is correct. That is that would be an additional burden on anyone who would be having that. But that is only to cover the electronical.
so that's the only thing new money-wise? So
Correct.
in the commercial section, that already exists?
All of that language besides the $10 administrative fee exists for the fire departments. It's just now we're the entity collecting, so it needs to exist in our ordinance. So it won't be the fire department charging it and the town of Richmond. It's just that now we are the host basically of collecting the fees and distributing to the property authorities. That one fee will be centralized here.
Okay, all right, thank you very much.
Any other questions? Anybody else in the public have anything they'd like to say, or anybody online? All right, can we have a motion to close our public hearing?
So moved.
Second,
We'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, can we have a motion on the actual ordinance itself? Motion to approve?
Motion to approve amendments to Richmond Code of Ordinances, Chapter 3.06, entitled Schedule of Fees, Building Permit Fees and Related Charges as presented.
Second.
Awesome. Any further council discussion? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, on to licenses.
And if I may.
Yes.
Okay. So it's just come to my attention, so clerk base, the code on clerk base carried over from the same October 21st. But the publicly posted agenda, Zoom code on the town side, as well as the Secretary of State's office, has the correct Zoom code for this evening. So it's being streamed through YouTube. However, the code is 957-3372-9973. That is the correct code, not what was on clerk base, but what is publicly posted on the agendas of the Secretary of State's, as well as linked to the calendar.
Okay, so anybody who's having trouble getting in on Zoom right now,
Yep. that
please
is
look
the-
at that agenda.
Yep.
And get to that Zoom meeting.
Yep.
Or continue watching on YouTube.
The code one more time.
957-3372-9973.
Thank you. Guess I got a thing.
All right, on to licenses. We have a discussion consideration of a complete application for renewals for a holiday license as reviewed for application completeness on October 29th, 2025 for Hope Valley Bait and Tackle, Shoreline Auto Sales and Cut and Dry Styles LLC.
So moved.
Second.
All right, any discussion on this? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. On to our second license. Somebody want to take this one?
So, discussion consideration of incomplete application renewal for a holiday license, subject to payment of taxes as reviewed for completeness on October 29th, 2025 for the Stop and Shop Supermarket Company LLC.
Second.
All right, so we got our motion to approve, our second. Any council discussion?
Are they still outstanding taxes? Still? Okay.
All right.
Well, it's only October 29th. Okay.
All right, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, somebody else want to make a motion on number 3?
Motion to discuss, consider the incomplete application renewal for a victualling license subject to payment of taxes as reviewed for application completeness on October 29th, 2025 of the Stop and Shop Supermarket Company LLC.
Second.
All right, we got our motion and our second. Seeing no council discussion, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. On to the next one. You want to take the?
Sure.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the application renewal for a victualling license subject to Rhode Island Department of Health permit to operate a food service establishment of Shree Sub Inc., DBA Subway.
Second.
All right, any council discussion on this one? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, our last license. Counselor Dinsmore, you want to take this one away?
Sure. Motion to approve complete application renewal for a victualling license as reviewed for completeness on October 29th, 2025 for Shaw Lemonade LLC, DBA Dell's Lemonade.
Second.
Any council discussion? We'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, on to appointments and resignations. We have a discussion consideration of the resignation of James Breer from the Zoning Board, Economic Development Commission, and the Rich Task Force.
Motion to accept with regret the resignation of James M. Breer from the Zoning Board, Economic Development Commission, and Rich Task Force.
Second.
All right, we got our motion, our second. Any council discussion?
With thanks for his service.
Yes. We'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. On to our consent agenda. Does anybody have anything they want to pull?
1A, please.
Sure, any others?
I've
Yeah.
got to pull just to abstain on the D.
All right, so we'll go right down the list. We'll handle A first. What would you like to discuss on A, Counselor?
Yeah, sure. On page 9, it says that the motion to close town offices was made and seconded by Councilor Dinsmore. I made the motion. He seconded.
Okay. That works for me, so make a motion to approve with the amendment.
Motion to approve the October 21st, 2025 regular meeting town council minutes.
All right. Go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. And now can we have a motion to approve B and C?
So
Second.
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
yes.
and myself, yes. And I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda 1D.
Second.
We'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Abstain.
and myself, yes. All right, on to public forum. All right. The purpose of public forum is to give members of the public an opportunity to address the town council about items not on the agenda. We'll ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. You'll have one opportunity to address the town council during public forum. This is out of courtesy for others who wish to speak to ensure we have equal time for all. There'll be a timer which will go off when your 3 minutes are up, so you know to finish. If you need more time, we welcome you to submit your comments in writing to be included as a part of the agenda in the communication section of the agenda. All comments should be directed to the president and not any other person present. With that, do we have anybody for public forum today? Sure, we got Mr. Sayer staying up and then we'll go for over there. I'm gonna get my.
I'm sorry, should have raised my hand.
I know, right?
Bob Sayer, Richmond. I got a couple of things. I had brought up a few meetings ago about the intersection of Glen Rock Road and Punch Bowl Trail. And somebody that was online said that it was a good thing for me to bring that up because he almost got killed crossing the street. We need a stop sign on Glen Rock Road coming down towards Lusker Park. Problem is that corner is South Kingstown and Richmond. I just am here to ask, has anything been done about that, or do I need to put something in writing, and if so, who have I addressed it to?
I think, is that
We brought that, came up at the last meeting, I think, with the chief. Right?
yeah, I do believe at the last meeting, Chief brought that to our attention. Is that the same intersection, Chief?
No, I think that,
A different one?
I'm pretty sure that was the trail that was brought
Oh,
up,
the other
about
one.
the signage for the trail.
Trailer at Gardner Road was the
Okay,
other issue.
right.
Oh,
The
okay.
President brought it to, I think, Erin's attention. She forwarded it to myself. DPW director and I went out to the intersection to view it, make recommendations, and that's where we're at, but we can visit that location.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is I almost got taken out there again, because coming up that hill and making a left on Punch Bowl, they come flying down
Yeah.
Glen Rock, and right there, there's no stop sign, and the people that are trying to cross at the grist mill and everything else are taking their life in their hands. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was, I visited the new hardware store this week. Is anything being done to thank the Osborne family for all of their years of service? Richard Osborne, the previous owner of the Ace Hardware in town, he started out as on management of Fleming's department store. When we first moved down there was a Fleming's department store, and he's been with the hardware store. I just think that it'd be good for recognition for him and his family, because they've been longtime residents here and everything else.
Yeah, that's a great suggestion.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead, Ms. Sheehan.
Hi, I'm Helen Sheehan, Richmond. First, I want to say the picture of the holiday party, delightful. Setting my timer. I have a few things I just want to talk about. I know I talked before about the water system. I'm still very concerned about it. I don't even know if it's up and running yet. Is it running? And I wonder what plan has been developed to make sure that New England Water is maintaining the system. Because we really should not have gotten into the problems that we were in. And I was looking at the past, and in the fiscal year 24, the capital improvement plan, we allocated $645,000 for the water fund projects. And under ARPA, we gave money also. And we're supposed to be in, and we're supposed to begin, and we're supposed to begin at the end of 24. Well, now it's the end of 25, and it's just barely getting in. So there needs to be some plan to make sure that they're doing their job. I mean, I care about the residents, but also all those businesses. You're a restaurant and you don't have water. That's a big problem. And I'm also concerned, I tried to look at the budget, but it's an enterprise system. So I could not, the numbers for 25, they say they're not available yet, at least online, that's what it said. When I looked at 24, I still didn't break it down about how much is coming from the taxpayers and how much is coming from the water people. And I would like to be able to know how much the rest of us are paying for the water system. Okay, once more, the door-to-door salesman thing. I don't like the idea of limiting more than we are, because it feels very discriminatory to me. Nobody in this town likes solar, so we limit solar. Then we don't like somebody else. Okay, do we say no Jehovah's Witnesses can go door to door? Then do we say no Republicans can go door to door? So I don't like it. People can put no soliciting on their door, or they can put a no trespass at the beginning of their property. But I don't like things that limit people's freedom. But we're adults. I don't think we need a mother to tell us how to take care of ourselves. We can just say, no, thank you. Let's see. Last on my list is our Charahoe Plaza. When I got on the council, I wanted to go and talk to them because the place is such an eyesore. I went and talked with Sean Lacey. He showed me the plans that they had. He said within 2 years they'd be doing something. Well, nothing happened. And then I heard it was, they were waiting to see what our attitude was. All right,
That was
I'm out of my 3 minutes. Anyway, at the least, maybe there's some law we can find with our solicitor. Force them to take that derelict looking gas station down.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Just for response, so you don't feel not heard, we are working with the water company. I think our action was to get a plan from them, so we'll be addressing that in the near future. Regarding the budgeting information you're looking for, I would recommend doing it like an Access to Public Records Act request to the town staff to get the documents that you're looking for, because we're not going to be able to pull that up here. But we'll go on to somebody else who'd like to speak. Sure, go ahead, sir. Just state your name for the record.
Good evening, my name is Tom Marin, Richmond. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I've only got 3 things. One is, thank you, Jim, for being traffic controller at the Fall Festival. I didn't recognize you in your yellow suit and your sunglasses, but you did a great job.
Nice to see you.
And also, this was really amazing to see Dan Madnick at the Cub Scout booth. And he's not a Cub Scout, but he is a leader. And the people spoke so highly of him. And I just want to commend the 2 guys here, the 2 gentlemen here, as representatives of the quality of people who live in Richmond. And I'm sure you can, all of you probably deserve some accolades, but just those 2 men. He's building nuclear submarines. He has time to work with Cub Scouts and be at a fall festival. He's got better things. And he comes here to help out here. So anyway, it really makes me feel good about the people who live here, real American people. So thank you for that. Third thing is, I'm just curious about the search for town administrator. She resigned in July, and here we are in November. And I heard there was an update a month and a half ago with a bunch of resumes. So, and as a former recruiter, I know the best candidates don't last. If I've got a top candidate, I better get that person placed fast, or somebody else will hire them if my company doesn't hire them. And so if you want leftovers, right, we're waiting until January, February, who knows? But I'm interested in an update. How close are you to making a decision? How many finalists do you have? And the last thing is, do you have qualifications in terms of educational background, bachelor's degree, master's degree? Have you specified the number of years of experience as town administrator that you're looking for? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your input. We'll have an update on that soon. The Town Administrator Search Committee posted all of their meetings in accordance with the Open Meetings Act, so those are all publicly available online as well, but we'll have an update on that at the next meeting, I believe. So, any other comments for public forum? Anybody online? All right, we will go on to reports. Take it away, our interim town administrator.
All right, so my first is the Tri-Town Community Food Drive. I think a lot of people have already received that flyer. The governor reached out to all cities and towns to try and offset the impact on the SNAP benefits. And so Richmond does not have a distribution center. Hopkinton does not have a distribution center. So I coordinated with both the town managers to decide that we would do a community outreach drive and all support RICAN, which is located in Charlestown. So this flyer, this is a tri-town effort, and we reached out to RICAN to say, what do they need? Monetary donations is what is preferred. However, the food donations are listed in the flyer, and this has been published everywhere. In just reviewing in social media and some of the initiatives, you know, the Boy Scouts drive, I think was 3 times the normal drive, as well as there's a lot of initiatives that are happening, some coming up on a future agenda, later in the agenda. But the need is still there, and anything that can be done by the community to support RICAN during this time should be done, and those donations go directly there. And this flyer is made available pretty much everywhere now in town, and there's a QR code to directly donate, and it discusses the drop-off location, the address, and the time. So I want to thank the communities of Hopkinton and Charlestown, and especially Richmond, for this amazing outreach during this time. So that was a very successful initiative in just a week's time.
Yeah, thank you for your efforts in it as well.
7,300 pounds of food the Scouts collected.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Mrs. Jean was part of that.
2 pounds is mine too.
Mhm.
Yep.
My next item is the famous holiday tree lighting festival. And this has been updated. This was provided by the Recreation Commission just to save the calendar. It's December 5th from 5 to 8 with lots of our popular activities. The Recreation Commission has just done an astounding job on all of our festivals this year. And so this is just newly publicized today, the Gingerbread House competition. We hope to get more participants this year. And there's performances and a lot of upcoming information. So please subscribe to the recreation page if you haven't, but we are going to be sharing it on our website as well and throughout town. All town departments will be posting. So the very popular tree lighting is happening on December 5th.
Awesome.
So my next initiative, and I'll ask the chief for a little assistance on this as well. Many are familiar with the Shannock Fire Tower. We utilized ARPA funding, and then there was some funding source to offset the cost. However, some of that review, we've been held up in, we've gone through every other state agency except for the Rhode Island Historical, and we have reached out. We had to have a separate study done to determine the impact of the tower. Chief Barber has been actively working on this, Chief Johnson prior to me becoming interim, so they caught me up to speed. We've reached out to the EMA, all fire departments to send letter on behalf. The governor's office I reached out to this evening. And fortunately, it's been held up in the historical. We're under the next phase, which is going to go to the USDA as part of the historical review. But of course, because of the federal shutdown, that's impacted. But I still believe it would be a benefit of council to put on record the support to get this project moving. This is very much needed. We need the fire tower replaced, and it's a priority. And some of the funding does have some time sensitive deadlines to meet. And so I've attached on there. This is what was sent on behalf of the chief, and I think maybe not necessarily a resolution because it wasn't drafted, but a similarly languaged letter from the council, reiterating the support, and any kind of red tape that can be avoided should do so we can get this fire tower constructed and secured.
Yeah.
That was a major improvement we utilized in ARPA.
Definitely. I have a question. What is the holdup? What is the Rhode Island Historical Society saying they need, or
They wanted initially to tear down the structure because they weren't sure if it was a historical impact. However, it's always been a fire tower at that location. It's going to stay that. I don't believe the historical disturbance will be any more with tearing it down and having a new one, if not more, and certainly a cost more to tear down. So we do not plan on tearing that down and utilizing some of the structure bases and reconstructing near it. But we don't believe that's an impact. But yes, it's been held up because they are questioning, what may be the most historical right thing to do for the site. That's the only way I can say it.
so we need their approval in order to put up a tower that's going to protect our residents?
I just go up there.
Yeah, I
Because
don't understand what they're
I-
saying no to.
Next.
And then I saw your hand, Counselor Dinsmore, sorry.
So the original fire tower was erected in 1968. And there's a cabin at the top. Some of you may remember back in July of 22, some kids were in the area shooting fireworks off and hit the tower. They weren't aiming for it, but they hit it and it caused a fire. The fire damaged the cabin, but not the steel structure. The tower is, for all intents and purposes, the integrity of the tower is fine. It just won't support antennas on the cabin anymore, where we had the police antenna for our radio system. This is all critical, emergency communications. It is vital. It's not a want, it's a need. On top of that, the existing vegetation overgrew the height of the fire tower. So since that time, we've been relying on the EMA's portable mobile tower, which is a trailer that goes up beyond the height of the original fire tower. And our communications have improved, but this is a loaner. This isn't a permanent solution. So the tower that we secured it was actually donated to us through Charlestown. Their previous 800 megahertz tower because they erected a new one. This was dedicated to a project. I don't want to walk you through this whole thing. The main thing is this, ARPA funding has been secured for the majority of the project. I mean, it would have funded virtually everything if it came in at about $500,000, $500,000. We went out to bid. We also secured during that time congressional discretionary funding. Once that award was notified to us, it was going to be managed by the USDA. Once that happened, all additional regulations, things that had to be satisfied, endangered species of bugs and rodents and animals, things like that. The Narragansett Indian tribe had to be notified. They have a checklist of things that have to be done with a USDA grant, even though it was a smaller portion of the funding than the ARPA funding, which was ready to go. So that's where we're at. We already had a RFP bid award to a bidder that came in $250,000 under the next highest bidder, which I think is significant. And the bidder that won the award, Elevated, has great references from other municipalities where they've done the exact same work. They are a very reputable company. They do a great job. They have been basically waiting for the clearance from the USDA. And with the federal shutdown, we're kind of waiting now for them to acknowledge. So the letter that I drafted, the 2-page letter, trying to articulate with common sense why that tower is in the right spot. It shouldn't be deconstructed and put somewhere else. The historical site is this land that no one is allowed to visit. It's restricted. It's solely for emergency communications. It's not a historical building that has some value for people to visit. They shouldn't be on that lot. So in addition to that, it's of no risk to the new tower going up because of the distance, and the tower itself is secure. It just isn't tall enough. Or why would you put new equipment on it? So that's what we're waiting for. Waiting for our historical society to get the green light from the USDA, but now we have to wait for the shutdown to end.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Councilor Dinsmore, you had something you wanted to ask?
Yeah, so we got a total of $605,000, right? So that was for the pad, concrete pad, and I believe a road or something like that. So we're still waiting to do that because we don't have a tower, right? So we're just asking for a tower. The tower.
We have the tower. The tower is actually disassembled.
Yeah.
And laying in place up in Gloucester.
Yep.
At an undisclosed location.
With
I gotta have some security. The concrete work, the shelter for the first time ever in our town, rather than having these metal cabins exposed to the elements and accessible by youth that want to climb over a fence, we're gonna have a legitimate compound with an enclosed shelter building, protecting all of those assets, keeping them weather controlled. I mean, it's state of the art. The Rhode Island EMA is going to make an investment. They're putting their own infrastructure on the tower. They're putting a camera, so we have remote surveillance of that site. It's going to protect the historical asset, the old fire tower, because now we can actually look from the station 24/7 and see whether or not somebody's on site trying to gain access to the old tower or to the new site. So, I mean, the funding breakdown is available to you. I didn't bring it with me. I just wanted to say, you know, there is weight with more and more support for a position. And in my opinion, this is a critical need. And I'd hate to see us, you know, miss an opportunity to get the concrete poured before winter comes. And that's kind of what we're up against. It'll delay the project. At some point, EMA could just come in and take that trailer. It's not intended for the highest of winds. It can handle gusts of like 50 and 60 miles an hour. But if we get a major storm, we're going to lose communications because they're going to have to take that tower down.
Terrible time to lose communication too.
It is the time that you need it most.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Any other council questions? All right.
Did we need
We
a
need a
motion?
motion.
We need a motion to instruct the staff to draft a resolution or letter of support to the Rhode Island Historical Society, reinforcing the position of our police and fire to expedite at all possibility the completion of this process to get our tower in place.
Second. All right. Seeing no other discussion, we'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Badnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes,
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you both so
Thank you,
much.
Council.
thank you, Chief.
All right. And I guess you may as well stay up there. We're at the end of Aaron's report.
Exactly why I came up.
Yeah, a man with a plan.
You don't see the two candidates I'm recommending for promotion. I didn't want to put the proverbial cart before the horse. I have done that in the past. I put down 2 candidates or a candidate for promotion, and then a pinning ceremony to follow. I think it puts the council in an awkward spot where they might have to make the promotion or send the person home. I mean, I know that you trust in what I share with you. We had a competitive process for these 2 candidates. These were promotions that were vacated or ranks that were vacated after the death of Sergeant Mike Loring last year. And then the corporal that was junior to him in rank was promoted to sergeant. Now we have 2 vacant corporal positions. We assembled the process. We actually hired Roger Williams University to do the testing, so it's independent and it's based on knowledge and law policies, all those good things that make that test really difficult. And the scores reflect that. They did a great job. They studied hard. We had 3 very worthy candidates. 2 ended up getting the highest scores. And the person I'm recommending for corporal first is Detective Drew Bishop. He's a 20-year veteran of the department. You've heard his name a number of times. Most recently, he investigated the break into that outbuilding, put a camera in place. From remote alert, he was able to tell officers that they had returned to the building they had broken into weeks earlier, and they made a successful arrest. That's just one example of what Drew Bishop has done. He's very calm under fire. He's very intelligent, probably one of the smartest people I've ever worked with. Capabilities are such that every member of the department will ask him for advice and guidance at some point. He's going to be a great supervisor if you approve that. And these corporal spots are for later shifts so that we have supervision across the ranks to mitigate liability and to provide leadership for younger officers who are out stopping cars and going to calls and need some guidance on occasion. So he's a 20-year veteran. He finished the highest score out of this competitive process that included an oral board of 3 independent police supervisors from across the state, and then the written test and his CR.
Awesome. We have a motion for this.
Motion to approve the promotion of Detective Drew Bishop to corporal.
Second.
Any council discussion?
I just have
Sure, go ahead.
one question. I think you just kind of answered it, Chief, and it's more structural. It's not about the specific candidate. But so these corporals are basically the OIC on 3rd shift.
Second and third.
Second and
I
third.
created a swing shift, so on a normal shift, or actually in a normal week rotation, all of our uniformed personnel are on a 4 and 2, 4 days on, 2 days off. So on second shift, you have a sergeant assigned to that shift, Bill Laterio, and he is on for 4 days. For the 2 days that he's off, there's no corporal there. By having a swing shift, 2/3, 2 seconds, now you've got an assigned supervisor to every shift on every schedule. Conceivably, unless they take vacation, fall ill, but at least you're mitigating the risk of not having supervision on the schedule shift.
Thank you.
One would be exclusively 3rd shift, 4 and 2, and the other would be on a swing shift.
All right. But that will go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next candidate that achieved the 2nd highest point total is Michael Ellis. You've heard Mike's name a number of times as well. He served as the SRO at Cheraho for the last 2 years. Very capable guy, very educated, motivated. He's got his EMT license on his own, through his own expense. And he was one of the first officers in the state to get CIT training in crisis intervention. He's just a go-getter, and he has got a very nice mannerism about him. He's forged so many good relationships. A lot of people in the school were happy for him that he had vied for this process and was looking like he was going to get it, but they were sad to see him go.
That was gonna be my question.
Yeah, so we have Brock Taylor going back into the school as a certified SRO. This is another community police officer who is very involved in just about everything that we do. He's kind of the face of a lot of our events on committee events. I have complete confidence in both of these officers, or I would bring them before you.
Makes sense.
Recommendation to be promoted.
Awesome. Can we have a motion on this one?
Yeah, motion to approve the promotion of Patrolman Michael Ellis to corporal.
Second.
All right. Any council discussion?
I just want to add that, you're well aware, my son was born at home. Patrolman Ellis was at my home helping my family, and I try not to interact with the police as much as I can, but that night I definitely needed them, so I think it's well deserved, at least in my experience with this officer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dan, I appreciate that.
Thank you. We'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
That was one of the more exciting third shifts they had too. Don't get to be present for a baby delivery at home that often.
Exciting. It sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
I'd rather not go through it again.
So my wife would agree with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
When they are available with their schedules, I plan to put it on an agenda to have them both here for a brief ceremony. What I normally do, we do a pinning ceremony. Where it's a nice little ceremony. It's very brief at the start of the meeting. Their spouse, significant other, and children are usually on hand for that. And it's just a nice opportunity to recognize something very special in the police career, especially in a town like this where these opportunities are so few and far between. So probably early December.
Awesome.
That meeting. The next request I have was it was for finished work to be completed at the animal control pound, where we have a beautiful new addition. DPW did all of the labor on that building, but now there's finished work that needs to be done, electrical work. And we were hoping to do specialized flooring in there. But ironically, when we brought people in for quotes, anything under $5,000, we need to get 3 quotes. Anything over $5,000 through purchasing regulations, we have to go out to a competitive bid, RFP. So when we started to field quotes, they fell within that range of $1,000 to $5,000, and then over $5,000. Finished work was over $5,000. We went out to bid on this. This would be for everything inside of that building that needs to be done, which is detailed in that RFP. And the lowest competitive bid, based on the document I shared with you, was Scholar Painting LLC. And I would ask that you approve that contract for $23,320.
All right. We have a motion on this item. Sure, go ahead.
Just a question, but we'll do a motion and then
Yeah,
discussion.
sure.
All right, so motion to approve the request for authorization to award the bid for finished work at the animal control pound to Scholar Painting LLC. I believe it's not to exceed the amount of $23,320.
Correct.
All right, I'll second it. And you had a question?
Yeah, Chief, I think you wanted to mention the Ella Kimball Foundation covering the cost.
They've actually made 2 donations to us. So this funding is coming from those donations and other funds that we actually garnered from donors. For instance, our animal control officer, Jessica Bridey, actually had a yard sale. She herself raised $1,500. Public's been, this is one of those things, dog parks, anything to do with animals, the public's emotional outpouring of support never ceases to amaze me. So that funding is from us.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. So we do have our motion. Any other discussion? We'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Just to point out, we did have 3 bidders on that. This was the lowest bidder. The highest was $30,960. So significant savings there. I am withdrawing my other request
Okay.
to award a bid to a company that bid on epoxy flooring. We'd originally been interested in Pentac flooring, which is what we have in the basement project that was funded through the USDA. It's phenomenal. The Stefano Brothers is one of the licensed dealers in the state. That price came in too high. We put it out for another bid, and we had one qualified bidder. One bidder, I think, intended to bid under $10,000, but the bid package was several pages, and it said 92,000 and change. 92,000. It was a typo, but we had to go with this particular company because they furnished us the accurate bid, and the other one called after the fact, and the bid has already been read aloud. So I'm withdrawing this request. We need to focus on HVAC, mini splits, things that we are looking for, heat to support life function in the building. And this is more of it's a decorative and functional element, but it's on the lower tier of importance.
Mhm.
So we're gonna do a paint on the floor. We're gonna have DPW apply until we get funding from donor sources down the road that we can replace that with something a little more special, decorative.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Yes.
I think, Chief, just one more, in bids, and I think it's a great for public understanding and something that I'm becoming familiar with as we do a lot of bids. A lot of the driving prices, I think a lot of people certainly have work done in their own homes and they're like, oh, that's really high. And so the prevailing wage law really ties our hands and has to be incorporated in every bid that is conducted. And so that has to be part of our bid packages. And that's why sometimes the prices that you can do in your own home and hiring a contractor is not something that is offered to the town. Because we have to ensure we meet that law. And so that's, I think we've discussed some of the impact fiscally on those and the projects. And that's just something to point out, that that's part of our process in acquiring and purchasing.
So just for example, there were 3 phases in this particular project that we're looking to do. 2 of those phases, we went back out to rebid and notify the bidder that showed up that it exceeded our quotes and estimates and our ability to fund. So we have the right to decline those if we think that they're too expensive, or we just can't do it.
Hmm.
And we're understanding. So,
Thank you. All right, on to new business, a request from Counselor Madnick for discussion consideration for a status update for a few items. So I'll send that over to you, Counselor.
Sure. So I think the public will remember that back when we started this term on the council, one of the things that came up is being able to hold ourselves accountable to initiatives, things that we take action on, and providing feedback to the town on what we're working on. And we found that due to the Open Meetings Act, there was really no way to put a recurring item on an agenda to discuss every week unless it was requested to be an item on there every week. So here we are, we're almost a year through this term, and there were a few things that our council was working on with staff. And I just felt that it would be a good time to kind of discuss some of the items that we've been working on and where we're at, just to provide the public with an update. So I'll just kick it off with the first thing, which is on the agenda, which is the Richmond Redevelopment Agency. So that ordinance has been drafted, and the public may or may not remember, that was tasked with Council Reynolds and myself to review, provide comments, input back to the solicitor, and then when we were satisfied, provide that to the council. At the time that we discussed the redevelopment agency, we had just been seated as a council. There were a lot of open positions on boards and commissions that are relevant to economic development in the community, and the Rich Task Force did not exist. So through working through this, we felt that it's worth, I think, holding back on moving forward with this type of quasi-legal organization in order to see how some of the initiatives we put in place work out. And I think some of that will bear fruit over the next few months. So, let's wait and see what happens coming into the spring and decide if it's worth moving forward with that ordinance and revisit it. The second item was a request to look at, any excess town assets that we may have that we could, auction off, get rid of, whatnot, dispose of. And it turns out that there wasn't much, if anything. I don't think we got any feedback. If you don't mind, Madam Chair, I can ask Erin to provide some more input on how that process went about, just so the public gets an idea of what went on behind the scenes with staff. If you don't mind.
Do you want to share?
Sure. Yeah. So following, the meeting, the request, sent out an email asking all departments to look at what excess we would have, if any. And then we revisited it at a department head meeting, and Richmond staff is very resourceful with what we have. Police cars that are on the road, when they get to be too high in mileage and repair, then go into police detail cars. And so that, we don't really have excess there, and we save all of the DPW equipment to utilize parts for other repairs and such. And so a lot we just simply don't have. We use until there is no value of it further besides scrap, but there was nothing identified in this process to be able to sell or to repurpose in any other way that everybody does every single day. So everybody did look at that, and but there was no real list to determine. I know the school district does have an auction every year. A few years ago, when we received a generous donation of office furniture and desks and the conference from when Snyder Electric closed, some of that furniture really could not be repurposed other than in the garage space and such. So we got rid of a lot of furniture in that kind of capacity. We've gone to more digital and not really utilized binders. That was the old way of storing things. And so some of the smaller binders were, given a few years ago to the school district for any needs they had with students. But other than that, really currently, we had no assets to to sell or auction or scrap at this time.
Thank you for your efforts on that. All right.
Well, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, I'd like to yield the time to our clerk and interim town administrator to discuss items 1C, D, and E. If she doesn't mind.
Sure. So on Title V, we have, I think C and D go together, and I'll answer that question. Is Title V, we were just going through business license renewals. We put a pause on that due to some of the questions, number one, and we want to fully vet out to make sure that this ordinance is written in a way that is, correct and implemented for the residents, the staff, and the businesses impacted by that. But we put a halt because we were entering into the business license renewals, and we didn't want to confuse them because we had applications out. So we do expect that, December is a lot of the license referrals once they're issued, and that will be coming on an upcoming agenda. Chris and I have been working really closely on looking at those revisions and having one Title V recommendation at a time based on the feedback that council's provided to us in the previous meetings. Same with food truck ordinance, that's going to be implemented as part of that licensing provision that we currently don't regulate. So C and D is kind of there right now as just to not confuse our business owners during the renewal process.
Awesome.
With regards to E, we did go out to bid for the town hall modifications, and for the public benefit, that was to relocate and centralize the front door and have a handicapped accessible opening. That's something that the public has asked for. I asked Kate Schimmel to look into some different funding sources we could utilize, because currently we do not have any funding allocated for that. And there is several that will be coming up January, pending obviously the federal shutdown, that will be applying for, and now that, or we'll have, the council will see again permission to apply. But those bids did come in for the relocation of the door, to add in automatic handicap openers and closers, and reutilize the door we have. There's a little bit of a header issue, so on the current door, but we believe that the skylight above can be retrofitted so we can use that door. It's very important. That was a brand new door. I don't think we want to replace a door that's already been done, and relocate an existing window back into that place. So that project is moving forward. Those bids came in, again, it's a prevailing wage thing. They came in between the $50,000 and $74,000 range to do that work. We do not have a funding source currently, but that gave us some information, one on, kind of a ballpark of what that would be. And so we can start targeting funds for that. So that's there, but it's.
Thank you so much. On to F.
Yep. So F is in regards to community choice aggregation. Some people may remember we had a discussion about community choice aggregation early this year. So what that is, it's essentially, it's a utility program where the municipality runs it, where it's volume electricity purchased by residents. It's essentially a different supplier, and there were concerns from many residents about if we went to a potential community choice aggregation program, that it would be involuntary opt-in. As soon as the town implemented it, boom, everyone now has this one supplier, and people didn't like that. Thankfully, our economic development chair had looked at the enabling legislation, said, oh, it doesn't have to be what they call opt-out, meaning you're involuntary in it, you have to opt out. You can actually have an opt-in program. So I felt that it was worth at least looking into more, and then potentially setting up the program so that you could have people opt in voluntarily, and once a certain amount of people, you hit a threshold, then you can activate the program. I think everyone's kind of been feeling it a little bit. Utility prices have been through the roof. Rhode Island has one of the highest electricity rates in the country. So any way that we can help people save money, I think is a benefit. It's worth looking into and seeing if it's something worth doing. I believe, I'll make one more point and I'll turn over to Aaron real quick. The town actually is in a program that's very similar to community choice aggregation, where a variety of different municipalities are in one program through the RI Trust. So they're able to buy volume from one supplier and reduce their rate. So if you imagine the town of Richmond, if they have, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 houses, can buy volume supply, we can get a discount on an electric rate. So I think it's still worth looking into. I'll turn it over to Erin because she shot me over an email, I think it was this week or last week, that she's actually going to a presentation regarding this. So I think the information she's going to get will be beneficial to town to maybe move forward and develop this type of program.
For sure. Thank you. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah,
Or you
so
want-
there's training, a lot of municipalities are looking at energy choice buying. I was able to also identify a rough draft that was provided of an RFP to go out. There's several question items in it, so I'm hoping I can get some answers to those questions at that training, because it's geared towards response and how communities can provide some of this, not only for yourself if you're not only for the municipality if you're not currently enrolled in a program. And so this is a very technical document. And so I know the town from the previous conversations wants an easy opt-in, not a opt-out. And so the RFP will be drafted in that way. And once we ensure that we're meeting our scope of services to go out to bid, we'll go out to bid and come back to council with a recommendation if we're going to be the host and how that exactly works, because it is something that is very common to purchase bulk with a separate private contractor, but how does the town participate in a vendor who's going to be offering services to certain residents or not? So we'll have some more information as that scope comes back in RFP.
Awesome. Thank you so much. On to
All right.
G.
And for item 1G, I'm going to make a motion to move that to the November 18th meeting, as the EMA director cannot be.
Okay. Do we know if he's available? I'll second it for discussion, but do we know if he's available that day, or do we want to make? Okay.
Yes, currently I
He's
think.
coming
that's
on the
schedule.
other climate resiliency.
Oh, perfect.
So, yeah.
That works out well. All right. So any council discussion on that motion? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go on to new business number 2. This is a request from Counselor Dinsmore for discussion consideration to request staff to notify and renegotiate with Hopkinton regarding the payment terms for the transfer station. If you want to give a little background and your motion.
Sure. So Aaron and I have been meeting with Gary, Cody, and Ricky about the transfer station. In our last meeting, we were discussing the amount of passes, stickers, whatever you call them, each town has given out to the residents of Richmond or Hopkinton for the use of the transfer station. And so it seems that Richmond now has about 703 passes out, and Hopkinton has 1,113 passes out. So Hopkinton has 410 more passes out than Richmond. So seeing those numbers, we thought we should reach out and try to renegotiate our payment terms, basically.
Okay. Since I have a quick question, when is the current contract up?
I don't believe we have a contract. We have an agreement, right?
Well, agreement, yeah.
So we actually don't really have either with Hopkinton specifically, besides a motion in place of them agreeing to pay us $70,000 a year. And then we do have an agreement with the Rhode Island Resource Recovery that we take Hopkinton's cap. So that is a formalized agreement, and that will stay in place as we renew our licensing with Rhode Island Resource Recovery. But it was kind of an open-ended. We started this in 2022 in response to Hopkinton having a need. We've revised a lot of our fees. We're looking at it in a very holistic approach to become, revenue neutral, so that we are not in the deficit. And so Hopkinton is the Richmond transfer station was designed for Richmond residents, and we have extended the olive branch to Hopkinton. However, now based on the use of and the needs of some improvements, we're going to need a little more financial to make that
Yeah.
general neutral item. So as part of our conversations is we don't want either community to be caught off guard. This is going to obviously have to be incorporated in their budget. And so we need to start those conversations of what it would look like to make sure that we're in the black level. We're also going to be adjusting other things. And so we hope by the time we have our budget finalized or close to finalization, we'll see where those big numbers are. And hopefully we bridge that gap by adjusting some of those fees. So we've also had staff currently start tracking to say who's a Hopkinton, not just based on stickers out there, but based on how many users are there. And it is tracking that Hopkinton is a bit higher user on the daily. Certainly, that's
Who's tracking?
Ricky's tracking it based on stickers coming in. He's created a Google form. So we want to make sure that we're not just tracking it by stickers acquired, but we're also tracking it by usage of it because they do have 2 different color stickers. So he started creating that data for us so we can see how that's trending. But we're also looking at it in another holistic approach is that we have a DPW shortage and our transfer station is supported by our DPW staff. We have doubled our usage by bringing in Hopkinton. It was pretty much done by a one-man person. And so it's not feasible for one person to do that. So we've brought on, Ricky, in addition, has been supplementing on the weekends. And so we're incurring some overtime costs just on that staffing level because for safety measures, for what's required to break down a dumpster and composting, to make sure that we have, space for people to use the transfer station, to control the garbage, to make sure that people aren't dumping stuff that should be in a paid load and a recyclable load. And there's no way one person can do that at the scale, collect the money, and do all those other functions I talked about. And so in a safety, it needs to be a minimum of 2. And we can't pull 2 workers from DPW to run the transfer station and meet our other responsibilities for public works. So I'm hopeful that this is a start of a conversation with the town of Hopkinton and Mr. Rosso, and we can come up with terms that meet both towns' needs. And we're looking at other things to bridge that gap. It won't solely be on Hopkinton to do that. We want to make sure our fees are fair for all of the users of the system, but at the same time protecting the Richmond taxpayers that are used to supplement.
Right. Any other questions? No, from council? All right. Did you have a motion to throw on the floor?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to have our staff notify and renegotiate with Hopkinton the payment terms for use of the Richmond transfer station.
Second.
All right. With no other council discussion, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. New business number 3, request from Roberta Engel to utilize town hall parking lot porch on November 15th to hold a community unity event. Do we have a motion on this item?
Motion to approve the request to utilize town hall parking lot / porch on November 15th to hold a community unity event.
All right, I'll
Second.
a motion and a second. Any council discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Enjoy your event. On to new business 4, request from Counselor Madnick for discussion and consideration of a status update to the comprehensive plan, actions and priorities, including planning board, affordable housing committee, economic development commission, land trust, and the conservation commission. Go ahead.
Sure. So one of the first items of business that the council worked on was status of the implementation plan of the comprehensive community plan, and we spent quite a bit of time on it. Talia gave us a really good feedback, and then we had a back and forth, and she provided even more feedback and quite a bit of goals, and went back to all the boards commissions and said, all right, here are the things we want to work on. So it's been about 6 months. This was back in May when we got this direction. For those of you that can see the the agenda on clerk space, so I'll just run through it real quick, but Talia, I assume, is going to come speak to it. There were items from the planning board that came up regarding presentations and kind of the inside baseball and what low and moderate income is and what that means for Richmond. There were discussions about a potential transfer development rights, where you transfer development rights from one area of the town to another area of town. You can increase density or facilitate more economic development, commercial development. There were questions regarding the Affordable Housing Committee, increasing the meetings to monthly instead of quarterly. We asked a question about where the collected in lieu fees go for some of the affordable housing that we've mandated through in inclusionary zoning, which has since been removed. There were some questions from the Economic Development Commission regarding potentially hiring an intern or schedule a meeting with RIDOT over 138 Thruway in Wyoming. That's actually been completed. Councilor Reynolds and myself had that meeting with RIDOT, and we actually ended up getting 30 comments into the state transportation improvement plan regarding working on the traffic pattern in Wyoming. We actually need to follow up on that, so we will do that hopefully soon. And then there were a number of questions from the Land Trust and Conservation Commission. So I don't really have answers to all these. I was hoping that perhaps, I know that Talia's here, that maybe she can shed some light on what's happening and where we're going from here.
All right. I'm not sure if she can. We will find out. Is that something that you can share? I know we recently actually made it so you no longer go to all these boards and commissions, so we'll see.
Gillette Town Planner, I do not have anything to report immediately, but
Yeah,
I'd be
okay.
happy to come back and give you more information in relation to the specific items that you report.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Should we put that in the form of a motion for a council directive?
Yes, sure. I would like to make a motion to request that the town planner review the comprehensive community plan actions priorities that were discussed in May of 25, that were reported by the town planner to the TC and are present in the clerk space agenda for the November 4th meeting to report back to the town council.
Awesome.
Second.
A motion or a second? Any council discussion? Then I'll go to Erin. Erin?
But I think it might also be beneficial maybe to reach out to the other boards, the land trust, conservation, and put that forward, and maybe they can provide a report on their own back. So I didn't know if you wanted to consider that as part of your, if they have any update on like the EDC and,
Yeah.
some of the items, land trust, do they have any interest, conservation and mapping? And
So logistics question, who requests that? Who sends that email?
so if you guys make that part of your motion, I can send that forward to them that you're looking for a report.
As amended then, to
Second, I'll amend my second.
All right. Thank you for that suggestion.
request feedback from the other boards and commissions.
All right, we'll go for our roll call vote, seeing no other discussion. Oh, yes.
So would I just be doing the planning board, affordable housing committee, and just those two?
I believe
Or-
so.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to not be duplicative of anybody else's work or.
Definitely. Yeah, thanks for asking for clarity.
All right, we'll clarify that in the motion, Aaron, is that clear? Okay, thank you.
All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes,
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. On to our last new business. Hopefully we can get through before 9.
Ouch.
I was just kidding. It's our last item, I had to. Request from Councilor Palmigano for determining a platform to obtain feedback, these surveys. Take it away.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'm sorry.
So no, it's fine. So I think, we as elected officials sit here, but we represent the voice of the people. And oftentimes we might have people in this room who will voice their opinion. But if you were to put a comment on the community page, you'd have over 120 people who would provide you their opinion. So one of the ways that I found, and again, oftentimes I'm branded as corporate, that is my life experience, that is where I come from. But we have effectively used surveys as the pulse of the opinion of the people. And I think that it was important to look at a way that we could animate and allow our government to reach out more effectively to get the opinion of people. Now, of course, there have been topics that have come up recently where we all have opinions and we wonder what the pulse of the community is. But there are so many more opportunities to use survey tools. It could be in relation to what type of music would you like to hear at a summer festival? How many festivals would you like to see each year? There's definitely ways that both council members and staff could utilize these survey tools to really connect with the public. We may think we know what the right thing is to do, but the majority of the people might tell us otherwise. And I think we represent their views, and it's important to have that mechanism. So that I have actually prepared a 6-page report that I'd like to read through. No, I'm kidding. I just want to see the reaction of all of you. Now, in fairness, I worked on this. This has not been attached as a document, and the council members haven't seen it. So I think I would like to give it to them. But in fairness, I'll just do a brief overview, and then it would be an opportunity for staff to review it, whether it's applicable. But just to give a flavor for everyone of what it is, essentially, it talks about why surveying the community, the opportunity to use a platform. We have a Microsoft 365 account here as a town, and Microsoft Forms, if you're familiar, it's a fantastic survey tool that could be used. There's a couple of things I put into this, and if anyone in the audience wants to see this, I'm more than happy to let them take a look, and I'd love your feedback into this. Would be a submission process. I think is important before we open the floodgates and have tons of people start wanting to survey. That if the administration agrees and if council agrees to this, that there's a process in place. So, for example, if I wanted to introduce a survey, there has to be some requirements that I would need to provide to the appropriate person in a timely manner to allow them to take effect on that. So we talk about the title, number of questions, the amount of business days in advance. And then there's the question types. There is the digital platform printed. We'd also have, I think it's important to have a printed copy available for people who may not be tech savvy. Here, also a QR code posted at where we post the agendas so that people could scan it if they aren't necessarily online. So trying to make sure we think about everyone in the community, not just people that may be on a digital platform. And then surveys are only as good as making sure you circle back and let the community know you've heard their voice and what actions you might be taking. So there's a piece of how we would actually take that information and provide it back to the public so they could see the answers that everyone took the time to do. So that's just what I wanted to mention there. I have this sheet that I can certainly share, but my request for the council would be to approve the staff to review my recommendation for a survey process and come back with an approved approach to using the survey tool to help us to engage with the public.
Yeah, I have some initial questions. I'll go to Councilor Madnick.
And I'll hand this to you guys as you know. Go ahead, start.
Sure, Jim, I'm on board with this idea. I just want to give you 2 points of data, and it might be worthwhile to consider and maybe talk to Talia as well. So in my tenure volunteering for the community, I've been involved in 2 community feedback, I guess, events. The first one was feedback on the comprehensive community plan revision back in 2018, 2019, 2020-ish. And I think we got a little over 300 responses, community of 8,000 people. And then more recently, we did the Richmond housing needs survey. And I believe we got about 300 responses again, correct? And we put that everywhere. We did it on sign out there. We did it through email. We did it through Notify Me. We put the survey in everyone's tax bill. I know that people shared it, and I shared it at work because there's plenty of Richmond residents at work. And I would love to find a way to get more people engaged in our community than 300. And twice we've done surveys that have a large impact and some of the policies that we implement as a town, and we've only got 300 responses. So I'm on board. I'd love to figure out how to get more engagement.
Is it respond to that or?
If I'd like to hear from everybody
Yeah, sure.
before we go
Okay.
back.
Yeah, no.
Is that okay? Because
That's fine. Good points.
did you want to go or I have some thoughts too, but yeah. I wanted to know, like, is the purpose of this to create a policy so that when the like we didn't do that housing needs survey, the Affordable Housing Committee put that together and they put up all these questions. Like, so is the purpose of this to get a unified way of creating these surveys and implementing them, because there's also a survey currently happening with the Wellness Committee, a transportation survey that they're doing. They have it printed, they have the QR code, they were here at the Fall Fest. If you happen to run by the booths for the nonprofits, they were there with their survey. So I just didn't understand like the purpose of this. I don't want to survey people to death because I feel like that will almost hurt engagement. I feel like people will do too many and get I don't know, nose blind to it. I can't think of the right word, but get a little numb to it. Thank you. Another survey. Here's another survey. Here's another survey. So I don't want to do too many. But if we were to find a unified way to have the survey be put out there, it may help engagement when the committees want to do something. Like this will give an ideas for the wellness committee to say, oh, well, we didn't think about this way of advertising it. So maybe it'll help on that front, but I don't want to survey for the sake of surveying, which is what I thought this was. So I was just looking for clarity on what the end goal was.
You're gonna have to remind me all these questions, but I'm saying that's all in the document, just.
That we didn't
questions
get.
are answered.
Okay.
I don't know, but I mean, I didn't want to bore you, but you can read through it.
Yeah. But no, we have engaged in a lot of various surveys. We share it on multiple social media sites. So I think it's great to get community input and referencing the like Facebook pages and things like that. We don't always see the comments. So I think the best way to engage with your elected officials is through our direct contact information that's available on the town website. We have our email address, phone numbers, things like that. But yeah, any other counselor feedback? You got some?
And in fairness, you haven't had a chance to read through this, so I apologize.
No, that's fine. I guess my two off the cuff thoughts are similar to what Councilor Madnick said. Typically, you don't get great responses to surveys. You get people who want to respond, but that doesn't necessarily mean the few people you get responses from are reflective of everybody else out there who didn't respond. And so I think, each commission, committee, staff, department has to decide for themselves, is a survey worth it? And, again, I haven't read through the document, in fairness to Councilor Parmigiano, but again, the purpose of each survey that a commission or committee or department would want to do is different. So again, to try to come up with this bureaucracy around surveys, I just don't, I wonder if you can, one size doesn't fit all, and I think it would be difficult to, to do. And my thought is leave it to the individual commissions, committees, whoever's doing it, to decide the best way to conduct their survey. As far as how many questions, what types of questions, what types of feedback, those types of things.
Thank you.
You want to yield your time, or you got something you want to add?
Feel free to take a swing.
I don't want to repeat. I've heard of some other surveys, like Dan was saying, 300 people. It's like not really, of a big community. So 2,000 people, 3,000, that interests me, so maybe there's someone we could do that. I don't know. Same stuff.
All right.
Yeah, all great points. And listen, I'm the last person who wants to survey for the sake of surveying. And I also am very judicial when I look at a survey, whether I want to take my time to respond. The thing that was the challenge is, as a council person, what platform do I use to send out a survey? We don't have an official approach. I don't have an official tool. I want to have an official platform. We don't have one. So I think we need one. That was the impetus. And we have Microsoft Forms as a town administration. So we have Microsoft Forms. Great. Now, do I be the only one who has access? No, I thought it was fair that we should have a process in place where every council member or department head or the town administrator could also do the same. And that the the way I put it in, again, you have not had a chance to read through it, but that we also keep in mind the size of the survey, the frequency, and that every survey would be a right of refusal for the town administrator to say, look, we just did this, we're gonna hold, we're gonna wait. So we're not burdening the community. But I think we're missing a piece. The thing about forms that's also great is, to get more people to respond, it goes on the website. Councilor Madnick grabs that link, shares it to his community. Let's say the different town political committees want to share it. They put it onto their pages and that gets out there. So the way of reaching out to people to get that input is much more powerful when you have a simple link that you can drop into something and get it out there. Now, again, people can respond. The other piece that we don't do, which is super important, is circling back with the results and being very overt and transparent with the results of surveys. We don't always see it. Commission does a survey, you might or might not see it. So this has it in the process where it makes sure that we have a way to publish a PDF, one-page view of the results of the survey so people know that they didn't waste their time. That's how you get more engagement on surveys. A, you make sure they see the results, and B, there's actually action that's done to change things for a positive way based on what the public wants. So that's my thought. Again, I would like to have a mechanism. We don't have that today. I don't feel like it's enabled for us to do it, and that was the point. But yeah, that's my comments on it. I hope I've answered all of your questions.
Yeah, I have more, but I'll go to Counselor Madnick first.
Yeah, I'll try to make this quick, but I mean, we're temporary stewards of these positions for a term. And depending on what we want to do, what the town wants to do, they might go in a different direction. And I try to explain to everyone that town policies they're fungible. They can change. Just because the ordinance is written a certain way one year doesn't mean it can't change the next year. Same thing with zoning. And I'll give one example. There's a development going down the road this way in the plan development. And we had the public hearing to go through the master plan. And there were some concerned residents that said, well, this is a done deal. And what we expressed to them is, well, a mixed use development is allowed in a planned development district. And they asked, well, how could we get it changed? Well, the time to do that was prior to this, or when we went through the comprehensive community plan and the zoning map. So I'm using this example because if we had more engagement from residents, if we had these, maybe a potential survey, as Councilor Dinsmore stated, 1,000, 2,000 people, we didn't have a vocal minority kind of driving policy decisions. Maybe we could do a better job as leaders for the community. And it's hard to know, because I'll tell you what, I have a hard time making decisions up here sometimes that can affect 8,000 people. It's humbling. And you really have to be careful when you make these decisions and what the impact is, the decisions that you make. And you have to have conviction when you do that. But you have to know that's the right thing for the community. And if you don't have feedback, you don't know if that's the direction the community wants to go in. So I don't know how this is going to work out, but if someone's willing to put the effort in to get more engagement, I'm all for it.
Okay. I did have a member of the public too, and then I wanted to say that part of the way that we get engaged with our community is being with the community. Every single one of us, we're at the Fall Fest talking to people. I hold multiple community conversations throughout the 3 years I've been up here. I actually did feel enabled enough to do my own survey, not during this term, but during my first term. I had them on my social media, my email list, and my network. So I feel enabled to do that. And I think that sometimes there's a good not anonymous, but more of a privacy feature when you email your elected official directly, that's not necessarily an access to public, that's not necessarily public record. One concern that a constituent brought to me with the survey the school recently did for the changes that they were implementing was to your point, Counselor, they were not sure where the data was going to go. They were not sure what was going to happen, and they didn't feel comfortable submitting the survey because they didn't know the end result. So I appreciate the effort, because I think that would help solve this concern. But also, like, if you're not getting the access that you want to surveys, access to public records requests. I did one to the state not too long ago for the housing needs survey that they did. I asked for all the Richmond resident answers. They said, well, because of anonymity, we don't know who is Richmond, who isn't. So here's all our answers that we got across the whole state. So these surveys that are done by the town, they are accessible to us. We can see the answers. And we can make change actually, because that one did come around and did have some changes to it, which was positive. So I think it would be good to help maybe create a tool that would help our boards and commissions access more different, a tool that would help our boards and commissions and guide them into where they can put the survey to get more access. But I don't necessarily want it to be a hard and strict rule, because I don't want it to be something like they have to have a certain number of questions or anything like that. I want them to be able to get the data that they're looking for as our volunteers doing the work. So I don't know where we go with this, but I don't think it's completely scrapped, in my opinion, at least.
My hope was just to give it to the administration to take a look at and provide us the feedback.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, I did the work to try to frame this up just to give some ideas, and of course, there's a lot of corrections, red lines that could go through this to change things. But the whole point is to make us more aware of the voices that may not have the time to come in here or may not be giving their opinions. That's all. Okay. I think it's just an effort to do so. But again,
I know Alex has been very
yeah, sorry.
Alex Kendall, Richmond. Basically, just to touch on what you've been talking about. So, you know, how you're going to use the results was kind of my concern, and how would that, are you using it to drive policy? And is that a common thing? And how can we avoid kind of leaning on a survey versus maybe a vote or something like that? That's my only concern.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you.
Thank
Erin, you have something you want to add?
Yeah, so just briefly reviewing just a few things. So I think a lot of the surveys that have been done by boards and commissions have been done on personal pages or temporary apps. And so we don't necessarily get that data retained unless they print and provide that. And so I think we've seen that with a changeover in the previous rec commissions. There was surveys done on either personal Facebooks or Survey Monkeys, and not all of that was shared in a way that would preserve that record. So I can see a way that it would be important for the town to have a mechanism that way. I also think that having certain parameters is important, and just looking at some of this is who would be the survey administrator. And, you know, I think having procedures, especially with technology and scrubbing and making sure our privacy is important. And so having a platform there is an important tool, because like you referenced the school, that was a concern I heard as well, is where would that go? And so would people not want to utilize it? And at the same time, all what Dan referenced in the surveys we did and sending it out in tax bills, and we still got that response. So some of it is apathy, I guess, on what is an important item to a resident. But coming through some of these process and guidelines, I'd like to take a look at it and see what the impact would be for staffing and or who would have the bandwidth to do these tasks, depending on, you know, a process put in place. So I think the initiative is really important, and just getting into looking at some of the details on how much bureaucracy would be on it and how much staffing oversight would be required. But streamlining a process for all to use, I think, would be at the same time saying, no, we just sent out a survey on that, and not making sure that people aren't numb and not participating because of that. But I think there is a need, because there's several boards and commissions that are doing it on their own, and it may not go onto a website platform or data be followed up because it's on their personal Survey Monkey or their Facebook page or whatever avenue that they use. So it could be a great tool to gauge the public. Certainly not the ultimate tool engaging the public is at the ballot. And I think that's not the intent here. We haven't had this, but I would definitely need some more time to look to see what staff would have the capability of doing should we move forward.
That's all I ask.
Awesome. Has that been put in the form of a motion?
I can do it if you'd like.
Sure.
I drafted one.
Go for it.
Okay. Motion to request town staff along with Councilor Parmigiano to develop a standardized process and guideline to conduct surveys, including but not limited to the ideas provided by Councilor Parmigiano at tonight's meeting.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes,
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
thank you.
Thank you. On to communications, petitions, proclamations, resolutions from other Rhode Island cities and towns.
Motion to file.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'd like to pull the boards commissions 1A vacancy.
Sure.
Just make an announcement.
You can just announce it
Just
in the
make an
motion.
announcement.
Okay, I will do it quickly. We have had quite a few resignations in the last couple months, and so we've got openings on Affordable Housing Committee, Building Code of Appeals, we've been open for a while, Charahoe Finance Committee, Dog Park Committee. The Economic Development Commission is looking for 2 resident members and 1 business community member. We have 2 openings on Elder Affairs Commission, 1 on the Planning Board, and there is 1 on the Richmond Investment for Commercial Health Task Force as a business community member. And we're also looking for a planning board member to join Rich as well.
Thank you. I was gonna do the same with the sharing that the Economic Development Commission now doesn't have a quorum. So they can't meet.
Oh, really?
Yep.
And the Economic Development Commission needs to appoint a new person to the Richmond Task Force, and they can't do it because they don't have a full quorum.
Don't have a commission.
Anyway, so we have our motion, we have our second. We'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes,
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. We have a motion to enter executive session?
so moved.
Well,
Motion to enter executive session pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5A2 pending litigation.
second,
Second.
we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Now we are. So can we have a motion to exit executive session?
So moved.
Second, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Can we have a motion to seal the executive session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
We'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. There were no votes taken in executive session tonight. We have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano. Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes.